So, good morning to everyone. Give some minutes for people to sit down, and I would like to welcome you to all of you to the European Parliament. Special word to the Rector of the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Professor Anne Borg, and Professor Sophie Chauvet, Vice President of Aix-Marseille University, that are here with me. And also big thank to Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, the European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth, that will join us in a minute online. And it's very important that Commissioner Mariya Gabriel is in such an important event, and for us is an honor. So I would also welcome all the participants that are here and everyone that is connect online. I was told that we have a very high number of attendees, and it shows the importance of this event. Actually, it's a great pleasure for me to host this event in the European Parliament. The official launch of the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance, and I really believe on the very important role that this alliance can play. I'm always of the opinion that if there are an area of success of the European project, the networks and the space, the European space that has been created on research and innovation and education in a bottom-up initiative promoted by the framework programs, but many times as bottom-up initiatives of collaboration between universities, research centers, and also between them and the innovative companies and industry, has been one of the areas where we really built an European spirit. And that, together with the mobility of students, that have been probably the two most successful initiatives that we have created in Europe. And this is a very good example that 14 leading universities across Europe around a subject that is a very important subject for Europe, the ocean and the sustainability of ocean, that is so important for the environment, for the energy, for the security. We were just discussing that, the different aspects of the ocean, where ocean is so important. So it's an area that it needs to be a priority, both in framework program and in the European agenda. Actually, I was a rapporteur of Horizon 2020, and for the first time we have managed to put oceans as a priority, individual priority. It was scattered in different areas. And also, as a rapporteur of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, I've created a new area, a KIC, it's called Knowledge Innovation Community, on the area of ocean and water. And we are very keen and anxious to see the opening of this area by the European Commission, and it's something that we all ask Commissioner Mariya Gabriel to follow up closely to make sure that still during this period until 24, so we have next year, we have the launch of the initiative of a new kick on oceans and water. So it shows the importance of initiatives like the present one, that we have a strong European community in the area of research and innovation, and also education in the area of oceans. And this is one of the features that is so important, because we have a lot of initiatives on research and innovation, but not a lot that covers the triangle that has also puts education and the training in the picture, and this is one of the features that is very important on this initiative. So I don't want to be longer, because we have now Mariya Gabriel. I hope that everything in the digital world works well. Commissioner Mariya Gabriel will be here for the first part of the meeting. So I ask if we can connect and mute.
Good morning. Good morning. Do you hear me well? Good morning. Well, good morning, dear members of the European Parliament, dear Mariya, dear Rector, dear Vice President, dear participants and friends of the ocean. First of all, allow me to say a big thank you to Mariya da Graça Carvalho, always very, very engaged, not only with research and innovation, but now with education when we talk about oceans. And I would like really to thank the European Parliament for hosting this important event. It's true that you will discuss a very important topic, the links between education, research, and yes, I'm adding innovation, because these synergies between education, research, and innovation can support our actions towards sustainable water ecosystems. So allow me since the very beginning to tell me that I welcome the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance as important driver to foster these links and these synergies. Allow me in the beginning to share something with you too. We have all seen the recent pictures from Artemis 1 mission, taken 400,000 kilometers away from the Earth, showing us how beautiful is our planet. A little blue sphere spinning in the immensity of space. And I must say that those pictures trigger many reflections. For instance, reflections on the place of research and the links with education, how we can turn science and knowledge into innovative and reliable technology, into benefits for our citizens. At the same time, that's an inspiration for artists, and something very important, one reflection on the needs to get young generations interested in science and prepare them to the climate challenge that affects our Earth ecosystem. So here, I'd like to start by saying, and Mariya, you already mentioned it, the European Commission is engaged in the blue area through different programs and instruments. And yes, of course, simultaneously, and first I'm thinking about our European mission. The European mission, Restore Our Ocean and Waters by 2030, it's really our flagship initiative. But we have also partnerships such as one on sustainable blue economy, or the partnership Water for All. These partnerships, the mission, are example of what we can do together with member states and the research community. When we talk about the mission, I would like just to share with you that we have already launched 2 Horizon Europe calls for research, innovation, and coordination actions, and early next year, another round of call for proposals of same magnitude will follow. The overall contribution from Horizon Europe for these calls is in the order of 250 million euro, and we hope to get up and running around 50 projects. We have about 300 organizations participating in new initiatives from 39 countries. So what's a beautiful community that can be mobilized more and more. And I expect the Oceans and Waters mission to cut across policies, programs, instruments, initiatives at European, national, regional, and local level. And here, let me single out, amongst many, the digital twin for the oceans, an initiative that I believe can become a real game changer, giving its multidisciplinarity and cross-cutting nature between research, education, and innovation. Another important element, it's the concept of lighthouses. Through this concept of lighthouses, we aim to match geographical priorities with thematic priority areas. You know that we have started rolling them in major sea and river basins, the Atlantic, Arctic, the Mediterranean Sea, the Baltic and North Sea, as well as the Danube River Basin. And the mission is here also to induce a great European mobilization of society. So I think that if you'd like to mobilize the society, of course that we have to pay much more attention to this link between research and education, because via our education systems, we are not talking only about how to prepare with the necessary skills and competencies the next generations to take care of our planet, to really use the potential of ocean in order to develop science, technologies, benefits for our citizens. It's important really to build much more common initiatives with them. And here I would like to mention something where maybe we can a little bit reflect on. It's true that we count on your support to bring together member states and partners by supporting the implementation charter. We launched this charter on 30th of June during the United Nations Ocean Conference in Lisbon. And even it is a non-binding instrument, it has the value of indicating the commitment to cooperating, aligning, and mobilizing resources and activities for the goals of the mission. And let me thank here the Aix-Marseille University for being the first university from the Mediterranean to adhere to the charter, but we need all on board. And yes, I count on your energy to have much more representative coming from the education sector engaged, because only together we can see how we can better align the different efforts and how we can mobilize much more resources and people. Now, I would like to pay attention to some other elements. There is other parts of our research innovation programs that are also contributing to our blue objectives. And for instance, I would also like to underline the role of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions have supported more than 720 projects under Horizon 2020 in the area of ocean and water research. And numbers are really, really impressive. 610 postdoctoral fellowships, 56 doctoral programs, 23 collaborative staff exchange projects, and 20 PhD and postdoctoral training programs. That's an impressive wave. But yes, here we need to see how we can link these projects with others in research, innovation, and education. And here I must say that the links with education at all levels are very important for me. And let me provide examples of how we can reinforce the bridges to the promotion of blue skills and curricula. First, a small initiative, but I hope with a big added value. First, you remember that this year in September, we launched our initiative Researchers at Schools to bring science to schools on European priorities such as climate change and healthy oceans. This two-year initiative will benefit more than 200,000 pupils and more than 2,400 schools. But what I need is really to sort out the usual suspect and to see how together we can motivate much more young people to follow the path of the scientific career and to pay attention to these topics. And at the same time, to encourage our researchers to not hesitate and to go there and really to tell the story of their passion and their work with our young people. Second important element here I would like to talk about our European strategy for universities and the new European innovation agenda, because both are aiming for a stronger role of universities as actors of innovation, fostering deep tech breakthrough solutions across the continent. And I think that, yes, we can leverage on the role of the European Universities Alliances, because European Universities Alliances are at the heart of the European strategy for universities. Two of the alliances are specifically focusing on sustainable blue growth, smart urban coastal sustainability, and the marine and maritime sectors. For example, the European University of the Seas, CEU, organizes an online course on marine data literacy and an observatory for sustainable blue growth. It organizes the Ocean Hackathon to support challenge-based learning. Another example is EU Connexus, offering a joint master program in marine biotechnology. It provides a student research hub with open lab hours, engaging students in creative scientific work on coastal and urban development. I think that, yes, it will be really good to stay in contact with the existing alliances and not forget that this year, the call now will be finalized in January, but we'll have another one in 2024. It's really to sensibilize our European universities alliances on this topic and to see how the existing alliances and the new ones can collaborate in order, again, to avoid the work in silo and to see simply how together we can scale some of the good initiatives that they already have in place. Another important point, and this topic is very close to the heart of Mariya da Graça Carvalho, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Yes, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology has also a very important role to play. Yes, there are currently 9 knowledge and innovation communities, each focusing on a different societal challenge. And yes, a new kick on the water, marine and maritime sectors and ecosystems is envisaged that will aim to increase citizens' knowledge and awareness on our oceans and seas. And here, the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance could bring relevant experience and information to contribute to the successful design of this eventual kick. And I think that, yes, we do not start from scratch, but we need to reinforce our action and need all actors to glue together different parts of the solution in a systemic way. And that's why let me conclude with few remarks. For research and innovation resources will not be the blocking factor to be successful in reaching our objectives. As the President von der Leyen said recently, significant resources have been mobilized, strengthening the European strategic and financial support to the blue economy. We are talking of about 500 million euro from different European programs, including 344 million from Horizon Europe for 21-23 for the European mission. Second, we have started to exploit inter-program synergies, including in the context of cohesion funds and the recovery plans. We need to put them in practice and support newcomers to join and to cover all Europe. Third, our major task in the coming months is to consolidate an ambitious action plan and mobilize all possible actors. We need to leverage the mission's research and innovation DNA to ensure the contribution of all, from citizens to governments, from researchers to industry, from innovators to universities, to address issues that we all recognize as being our collective big challenge. And allow me to say again that you can play an important role to enhance coherence, dialogue between various alliances and networks in this field of ocean science and technologies. And that's why that's somehow my demand. I would like really to ask the new alliance to help us mobilizing key actors for the mission Ocean and Waters and to contribute to all other European strategic initiatives in ocean research and education, contributing to the design of the future knowledge and innovation community for ocean and water. I think that definitely, yes, we can build a lot together through the different European instruments and initiatives, but we definitely need your help and your expertise. And that's why I think that this event today, it's a very, very strong signal to the worlds of innovation, research, and education to join forces and to help us to protect our oceans, seas, and waters, and at the same time to form a European leadership that is based on knowledge, on dialogue, on shared values, and on common strategy for the next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, for your very positive words towards this initiative. Thanks for all your support to the ocean science and technology. And I would like now to introduce the next speaker, who is Director of Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Mrs. Anne Borg. Please, Mrs. Anne Borg.
Thank you. Dear Commissioner Gabriel, dear Professor Carvalho, dear colleagues, throughout history, Europe's long coastline and proximity to the ocean have shaped our nations, provided food, made us able to travel, trade, meet, and learn. Now the ocean is yet again the answer to some of our most pressing issues: food, clean energy, sustainable transportation, and security. Currently, the ocean carries heavy loads for us in terms of climate, temperature regulation, and biodiversity. We are expecting the ocean to deliver even more of the food and the energy we need in the coming years. But at the same time, the health of the ocean is declining due to pollution, overexploitation, and climate change. As the Commissioner was pointing to, the ocean covers over 70% of the surface of our planet. But still, our knowledge is quite limited. A major portion of the ocean has never been mapped, explored, or even seen by human beings. And I would say that so far, the ocean has not received sufficient attention and care from us. And we do not know enough about its ecological tipping points. Therefore, we need more and better ocean research and innovation. Fortunately, the attention is increasing. UN has declared a decade of ocean science for sustainable development, started 2021 and finishes in 2030, through which we aim to significantly increase our knowledge of the ocean. And Europe is aiming to be a front runner in this area, not least through the European Commission's mission, Restore Our Oceans and Waters by 2030. But we cannot achieve this by working each in our own corner of Europe. More than ever, it is important that universities and research institutions stand together to contribute to tackle the lack of integration and collaboration at the European level in ocean science. There is no time to lose. Also, to solve the sustainability challenges of the ocean, we need to work across disciplines and with industry and society at large. The European Ocean Research and Education Alliance, EOREA, is conceived to create interdisciplinary strategies in ocean sciences and to structure research and education programs between the various participating institutions. When we together address the main ocean-related issues, it will strengthen our ability to deliver relevant and good answers for the future. The vision of EOREA is to facilitate Europe's ocean research community in working more and better together, contributing to reach the goals of the UN Decade of Ocean Science and the European Commission's mission, Restore Our Oceans and Waters by 2030, the upcoming EIT, KIC, Oceans and Waters, and any other relevant programs, both at the national, European, and international level. The idea of EOREA was sparked in a bilateral meeting between Aix-Marseille University and the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in June 2021. The agenda of the meeting was to explore how the complementary strengths and ambitions of these two universities could be a starting point for fruitful and lasting collaboration on ocean science. But then we thought, why stop there? Why not aim to build a strong network of ocean science throughout the European sea basins to make sure that we utilize the best of our capabilities, both in terms of knowledge and infrastructure, and aligned with national and European priorities. This way, we can build shared capacities and avoid duplication, laying the path towards a healthier ocean for Europe and the world. At the same time, the education dimension is also an integral part of the initiative, aiming at training the future generations dealing with ocean science through the empowered knowledge derived from the Alliance work. At NTNU, we rank this initiative high in our priorities, and we are ready to contribute with knowledge and infrastructure in order to make EOREA a fruitful and impactful alliance. Allow me to close my opening speech by announcing that NTNU, together with SINTEF, this year secured national funding of more than 800 million euros for the realization of the Norwegian Ocean Technology Center. This will become Norway's future national knowledge center for ocean technology. It will include state-of-the-art laboratories and constitute an infrastructure for multidisciplinary research and innovation and education, where even the Trondheim Fjord will be a living lab for testing and development of innovative technologies. This infrastructure and the related NTNU expertise will be available in the EOREA context, and this will be a significant part of our contribution to the European research agenda to a sustainable blue economy and to restore our oceans and waters by 2030. I truly hope that many of you will join us in this exciting adventure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Anne Borg. Now our next speaker is the Vice President of Université Aix-Marseille, Professor Sophie Chauvet, that is also the promoter of this initiative. Thank you.
Dear Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, dear Member of European Parliament, Mariya Carvalho, dear representatives of Member States and regions, directors, presidents, and head of institution and stakeholder organization, dear all. On behalf of Aix-Marseille University, it's my pleasure to welcome you, after Rector Anne Borg, at the launch of the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance, EOREA. As you know, and as it has also been pointed, the ocean, rich in resources for humanity, is subject to all stress, such as climate impact on its marine biodiversity, chemical pollution by various types of chemical pollutants, and plastic waste. To safeguard the ocean while ensuring a sustainable exploitation of its resources, it is now urgent to contribute to enhance and integrate governance of Europe's research and training potential in this field. First of all, let me stress that it's a bottom-up initiative. As universities and institutes with excellent research and training, we recognize the huge gap that needs to be bridged to meet the current and future challenge to keeping our ocean clean, protecting and restoring marine biodiversity, and making our economy less polluting and protective of our seas and oceans. The creation of EOREA is a concrete expression of our commitment to participate in the European effort to protect the ocean. As research and higher education institutions, we take our responsibilities not only to protect the ocean, but also to tackle global warming. To give just one example, researchers in our university and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, have been exploring and highlighting the fundamental link between climate and oceans for several years. Another important aspect is the open character of EOREA. Our objective is not to create a closed circle, but to help our researchers and teachers address together the challenges we face at the global level. The 14 founding institutions have agreed on a joint statement paving the way for future developments to strengthen the alliance with additional partners and in complementarity with existing research and higher education network in ocean science. In the field of ocean science, EOREA will act as a lever to train the European youth and support mobility, thus contributing to build the Europe of knowledge. Finally, I would like to emphasize one of the ambitions that unites the 14 founding members today. We want to build EOREA on our respective strengths as well as on our collective strengths, which translate into two features. One, the fact that this initiative comes from key players themselves, and two, the valuable political support of Commissioner Mariya Gabriel and member of the European Parliament, Mariya Carvalho, who I would like to thank once again. I will now give the floor to Mariya. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your nice words, and with this intervention we close the first part, the opening. We are going now to the deep in the subject to have a debate, and I will pass the word to Massim Buzuoli, that is the director of the Brussels office of Norwegian University of Science and Technology, that is going to moderate a debate. So we are going to sit there, and the next speakers will come to here to the podium. And thank you again for your participation, Rector and Vice President. Very good to have you here today with us. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and also from my side, a warm welcome and for your interest in our initiative. I will moderate the next final part of the conference together with my colleague, Carl, from Exmouth University, Carl Stockel. I think we can just englobate our next two speakers in between us. That's nice. So we are going to provide you a bit of more insight about the European Ocean Research Alliance, and I also welcome our two presenters for this part, which is Siri Granum-Carson from NTNU, which is coordinating the strategic board of the Alliance, together with Richard Semper. Carl.
Yes, good morning. So Siri Granum-Carson, Director of NTNU Oceans, and Richard Semper, Director of Aix-Marseille University Institute of Ocean Science. Welcome, and you have the floor now.
Say next.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Massimo. First of all, I would like to thank the presence of Mrs. Mariya Gabriel, the European Commissioner, as a member of the European Parliament, Mrs. Mariya Carvalho, and Rector and Vice Rector of our university, NTNU Aix-Marseille University, and also all representatives of different international organizations like European Marine Board, GPI Ocean Project, and other organizations. So it's a pleasure to have you in this room or also on the virtual mode. And before explaining the functioning of the EOREA Alliance, I would like to recall the reason for the creation of such a project at European scale. Next slide, please. And first of all, as you know, oceans regulate our climate, and the global oceans absorb 30% of all anthropogenic CO2, most of the incident solar radiation, and exchange huge quantities of gas, heat, and gas particles. So it is very important. And more than 90% of the warming that has happened on Earth over the past 50 years has occurred in the ocean. Ocean ecosystems also under the threat of anthropogenic pressure, and they are rapidly changing, mainly because of climate change, pollution, underwater noise, habitat loss, overexploitation of resources, and invasive species. And such topics require interdisciplinary approach. And of course, research and education, for instance, on climate-ocean interaction, physics, satellites, robotics, geochemistry, biology, but also history, geography, and law of the sea. Next slide, please. And concerning the biology, as you know, oceans host 80% of the planet biodiversity and are the largest ecosystem on the Earth. Phytoplankton is responsible for at least 50% of the oxygen on the Earth. And phytoplankton consume also CO2 and transfer more than 10 gigatons of carbon every year from the surface layer to the deep ocean. And such topics also require interdisciplinary and very large approach, including biology, genomics, digital sciences, geochemistry, biogeochemistry, law of the sea, and biotech. Next slide. Ocean, as it was said before, is also a driver of economic growth, job, and innovation. And as you know, 1/3 of the world population is living in coastal areas. And blue economy involves many traditional and emerging fields, including port activities, naval fisheries, aquaculture, and also tourism, but also marine renewable energy, floating structure, production and transmission, blue technology, desalination, robotics, and also underwater cables. And then blue economy is intensively concerned by the globalization, and all this change need also academic and knowledge response. Next slide. And then we can consider that ocean is a multi-sectoral field involving natural sciences, engineering, humanities, and social sciences. In-depth knowledge requires specialized and disciplinary approach, but also interdisciplinary approach. An effective response to current issues like greenhouse gas or pollutant emission, coastal erosion, overfishing, development of renewable marine energies, or the control of maritime transport and the development of new sustainable port activities requires contribution of public and private law, as well as socio-economics and connection with private companies at international level. And then there is a need of gathering knowledge, education, and research at international scale. Next slide. Then, beyond the interdisciplinary scientific organization, it seems important to us to address the issues related to marine sciences in a European way. Indeed, there is a need to take better advantage of existing knowledge platform in the field of research and education in Europe in order to avoid fragmentation, as it was said before, of resources and meet the challenge posed by the future of the ocean. There is also a need to share expertise between marine universities in order to disseminate best practice over Europe. There is also a need of sharing experience between policy organizations in order to harmonize policies in Europe for sustainable development. This need has a basis for the creation of EOREA. Next slide, please. And for research, we have, and in the EOREA project, we have two main pillars, as it was said before. First is research, another one is education. And what we would like to do for research, for instance, is to gather research potential and platform tools in marine sciences at European level, in different sectors, and organizing all these things for European and international research. For certain aspects, of course, we need fundamental research, but for certain aspects also we need to bring fundamental research closer to applied research and fill, for instance, this dead valley and fill the theoretical gap between 4 and 7, and also be more close to the socio-economic world. For education, we would like to connect and support the educational potential in marine sciences and train a new generation of engineers and researchers in marine sciences at international scale, and strengthen an initiative close to research a new generation platform. Okay, thank you for this first part, and maybe Brandon would like to continue.
Thank you very much, Richard. So with this very good background context presented by Richard, we go over to just like in very brief word, what is EOREA? What is EOREA in a nutshell? What is our vision? Well, it is to facilitate European ocean research community in working more and better together, and thereby to contribute to reach the goals of the UN Decade of Ocean Science and mission Restore Our Oceans and Waters by 2030, the upcoming Kick Ocean, and any other relevant program, both on the national and on the European and international level, as has been said. The mission is to strengthen, to expand, and to optimize the European ocean research capabilities through the sharing of world-class facilities in Europe and the joint realization of pan-European programs. And I'll come a little bit more back to that, because the method we will be using are these joint programs where we emphasize three key principles to promote interdisciplinarity in the field of ocean science while engaging with society at large, by allowing research to fuel innovative education programs so that we are able to provide society with the needed expertise and the competences that we need to solve our challenges in the future. And thirdly, to bring together cutting-edge research and key technologies by overcoming barriers between the various fields of science and technology. Next slide, please. So how are we positioned in this big system of European ocean research, education, and innovation? Well, we will come a little bit back to exactly how we are putting our own organization into life, but there will be, of course, a governance of this alliance, which will then have as its role to sort of to feed the right kind of policy into the joint programs. And that means to sort of bring in all the work that is being done at the policy level, at the research and innovation policy level at the European, in the European scene, from actors such as European Marine Board, JPI Oceans, and so on. We'll come back to this in the panel afterwards. Also the needs of the industry, and to feed this into these joint programs, which will be thematic, and then we will be very well set up to implement these strategies and feed them into the projects, which will then be the three in this illustration. Next slide, please. So we picture we have set it up as with a three-layer governance, where we of course need the blessings from our different institutions, which we have present, many of them here today, some of them remote also, which will then be the kind of political steering committee of the alliance. The second layer is the strategic one, of which Richard and I are here representing this level, who are sort of executing these policies, into the third layer, which is the operational one, consisting of the joint programs. And of course, to get all this rolling, we need clearly a support level consisting of a secretariat. Next slide, please. So the executive committee will then be sort of overseeing what the secretariat and the secretariat supporting what we are doing. And then these are also then working towards the joint programs. So this is the illustration as you see it. And we, of course, the immediate need of resources we have now is for somebody to fill this secretariat function. So if I could have the next slide, please. When we come to the research themes, of course, there are a lot of key words that already many of them have been mentioned. Climate is of course always brought up very early when we talk about the immediate needs of ocean research. The digital twin of the ocean was mentioned by the Commissioner Mariya Gabriel. Pollution and coastal erosion, biodiversity is of course a very hot topic these days. A more thorough exploration of the deep ocean, and so on. So we have no lack of important topics to take care of where we still are lacking significant knowledge. The alliance consists of many universities doing a lot of work on the education in Europe, and this needs, of course, to be research-based. So we are starting with these joint programs in collaborating on research. This will, of course, then our ambition is to also build up interdisciplinary master and PhD courses in marine sciences under the EOREA platform. Next slide, please. So we have been working we've had a few meetings in this executive board working on how can we cover all these important topics. So this is the matrix that we are working on. It's not finished yet. It's still under negotiation and discussion, but just to give you a picture on how we are thinking of working. The horizontal level here are the thematic areas, of which I mentioned already many, whereas the vertical level are the disciplinary sort of areas where we have some of the most important disciplinary groups in ocean science. So the idea is we want to cover everything here within the joint programs, so that if we have a joint program, say, for example, within an area like climate and ocean, we should be able to cover this theme from all the disciplinary areas. Of course, not every research organization or every university alone will have that kind of competence within each and every organization. So that's why we need to, of course, work together in these joint programs. When an organization then would volunteer to chair one of the joint programs, it will typically be an organization that covers some breadth in that thematic field, so that they are well set up to chair a joint program in this area. Next slide, please. So what kind of cooperation are we aiming for within the joint programs? Well, we are aiming to harmonize because we already have, of course, research programs within the organization, but we need to harmonize these in order to improve the exchange of information and make it easier to also with the exchange of personnel and to have a sort of common strategy to tackle the research questions that come up, so that we have a sort of, we shorten the distance with the implementation phase to work with these questions. These are too many topics for any single institute to cover. So in order to avoid fragmentation and to ensure the complementarity of these programs, we set it up in this way, so that we share the work between us in a good way. And we share, not least, we share the work, but not least we share the results. We make it easier to share the research results, so that we don't have to do things, the same things in different corners of Europe. So this is basically, this is not rocket science in a sense, this harmonization of research programs. It's insufficient, but we kind of know how to do it. What is maybe more of a breakthrough is to aim for an improved sharing of facilities. We are facing economic challenging times in Europe and in the world. Building, as we know very much at NTNU, building state-of-the-art facilities in ocean technology, for example, is extremely costly. And so we need to become more efficient. We need to be better at sharing the infrastructure, sharing the facilities between us. And also actually in the long run, maybe to be better at owning and running these kind of facilities together. This would actually be a breakthrough as we see it on the European ocean research and innovation scene. Next slide, please. Proposed timeline, we're not going to go into the details here, but just for your information, of course, we are starting this. We started, we have chosen a very stepwise process. We don't have a big budget to throw into this. We have a group of eager founding members who are willing to put in their work for now and to volunteer. And then, of course, we have to see how it goes. We have to see if we actually get the traction that we need to be able to do this work. So we are picturing a 3-year kind of tryout period. We're launching it here and now with you today. And within the first few months, we will be launching the first 4 joint programs. After 1.5 years, we will stop and think, how are we doing? Are we able to run these programs? Are we heading in the direction we want? And then the second phase will consist in the rollout of 4 new joint programs. After 3 years, it's a kind of a stop or continue point in time. Are we where we need to be in order to continue with this? With this stepwise process, starting with the 14 founding members and building from there, opening up with the joint programs, we need, not counting the kind of in-kind of sort of research time that involved professors are putting in, we need at least a budget that covers a full-time position for the secretariat, which then might either consist in one full-time person. We don't have that in place now because it's a little bit of a risk to do that at this point. So we are now, to begin with, pooling resources, putting in as an in-kind contribution from some of the founding members, a 20% position to put this together to a full-time position in order to run the secretariat in the first phase. So there are different ways then for to sort of become members in this way, is either through these in-kind contributions and or some financial contribution to run it. Next slide, please. So that was as much details as we wanted to go into to begin with. We will be happy to answer any questions you might have, of course. The important thing for us to say is that while we are a group of enthusiasts launching this, but the whole idea is to have it open and inclusive, and that everybody who has an interest in ocean research and innovation and education are welcome to join us in creating a more inclusive arena for ocean research and education in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Siri, for this initial overflight on the Alliance. You have received also some background material, and there you have some initial entry points if you want and need more information for possible inclusion. In any case, I would like to say that this alliance is based on a successful initiative that exists at European level since 2007, and especially the model of joint programs, I think, has been one of the elements that make this initiative very successful. This initiative is the European Energy Research Alliance, and I would like to invite on stage the Secretary General of ERA, Adel El Gamal, to give us a bit of overview why and how the joint programs have been so successful in structuring a fragmented research community like the energy one. Adel, welcome. And maybe you can give the floor to Adel and come back afterwards. Yeah. So you can stay here. We arrange dynamically. So good morning, distinguished guests, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's really an honor for me and a joy to contribute with you to the launch of the Open Ocean Research and Education Alliance. This launch constitutes for me a genuine ray of light and a line of hope in a quite grim context of a world which is imperiled today by the madness of some and the greed of many. It is also a key initiative challenging the increasing difficulty to pull our acts together against the stark existential threats human societies are facing today. Less than 3 weeks ago, in the very artificial city of Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, my home country, I was walking haggard among the multitude of others, contemplating with consternation the deepening failure of climate negotiations. It showcased how complex international negotiations are when multilateral cooperation is waning. It also, unfortunately, once again confirmed that the world is firmly engaged on the trajectory towards an uncontrolled climate warming with untold consequences for human future on Earth. The Open Ocean Research and Education Alliance is about science, education, and collaboration. 3 of the most beautiful inventions of human being. Its launch could evidently not better coincide with the opening in Montreal just 2 days ago of the United Nations Conference on Biodiversity. As everybody knows, this conference of the parties will adopt a framework for providing strategic vision and global roadmap for the conservation, protection, restoration, and sustainable management of biodiversity and ecosystem for the next decade. In these times of increasing human friction with the planetary boundaries, it's more than ever essential to call on science to guide us collectively towards the conditions of an viable and sustainable life on Earth. Not only do they cover the vast majority of Earth's surface, as was already reminded, oceans are of paramount importance to human life. They feed major part of the life of the world population. They generate much of the oxygen we breathe, and they play a critical role in climate regulation. The need for science-based assessment, control, and regulation of human impacts on ocean is both essential and urgent. Indeed, while we acknowledge the urgency to keep in check and reverse human-caused degradation of oceans, we must also ensure the protection against new forms of human exploitation. Our long-hoped transition to a sustainable and climate-neutral society fundamentally relies on the promise of massive deployment of low-carbon technologies globally. But most of these technologies, however, heavily rely on a range of critical minerals and rare earths. We increasingly understand that an orderly and peaceful execution of this energy transition agenda with the required scale and speed will be undoubtedly constrained for many of these minerals by the scarcity of reserves recoverable by traditional land mining. In this context, the discovery of important reserves of many of those minerals, such as the polymetallic nodules found in deep seabed, must not only be a source of optimism, it might also well constitute a new theater of geopolitical confrontations and yet a new challenge for ocean protection. The intimate link between environment, energy, and resources can only recall us the very systemic nature of the challenges that we need to address collectively. And in that context, I really call for collaboration between this newly created alliance and with ERA. The Open Energy Research Alliance, ERA, the organization I'm leading, was created about 15 years ago by 10 founding research organizations. And I would like really to thank Raffaele Liberali, who is sitting there, who was the éminence grise in the creation of this organization and the set plan. But he's also responsible for all the who's I'm enduring since I joined as Secretary General of this organization. That's life. Today, this organization catalyzes research from about 250 research organizations and universities across 30 European countries.
It constitutes a community of about 50,000 energy researchers in Europe. Our mission, which was recently revised, is to catalyze European energy research for a climate-neutral society by 2050. So it's a truly societal objective. The Alliance was created to align national priorities, create synergies, and deliver world-class scientific knowledge. Within the Alliance, researchers from across Europe collaborate and deliver world-class research by collaborating on joint research agendas. And these are organized in our organization through 18 joint research programs. By fostering true pan-European collaboration, these joint research programs create a critical mass and avoid duplication, and thereby they obviously improve overall research efficiency, quality, and output. They evidently allow sharing knowledge and research infrastructure. This was already mentioned before. But I think more importantly, by setting shared objectives, they leverage European diversity and they create crucibles for unparalleled world-class knowledge creation and innovation. The last 2 days, I was hosting here in Brussels one of the periodic gatherings of the program directors of all of these 18 ERA joint programs. In these very special times of deep and structural energy crisis, expectations for research have evidently changed. Research efforts must now also be directed towards addressing very concrete and short-term challenges. And I must say, never before was I able to experiment so vividly the power of international collaboration and the value of diversity. In just these 2 days, several new strategies and transition pathways were identified. Addressing the systems-level challenge called for new collaboration schemes to emerge across the different joint programs and disciplines towards the achievement of the overarching transition objectives. These 2 days materialized the true collaboration value of an international community when it's properly catalyzed by shared trust, values, and objectives. This is the unique value of European joint programming. In creating a similar pan-European collaboration framework today, I can only praise the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance to have very judiciously brought education as a core component of the Alliance. Indeed, in these times of accelerated societal transformation, it is more than ever essential to design the skills agenda as an evolving continuum. Education today shapes capabilities of tomorrow. And beyond my role at ERA, I'm very proud also to contribute to this effort as professor in the University of Brussels, which is one of the founding members of the Alliance. At ERA, we have learned over time how to best harness the value of joint programming. In particular, we have learned to design efficient governance frameworks that stimulate collaboration, provide direction, and drive research excellence. We have also learned to design the essential common shared environment and knowledge structures needed to allow each of the joint programs, these initiatives, to thrive individually and deliver their thematic excellence, while also collectively collaborating together and converging to the wider overarching system objectives. In our case, delivering a climate-neutral society for the Ocean Alliance, preserving, restoring the ocean ecosystems. Education, science, and collaboration, the epitome of thriving human societies. I would like to congratulate once again all those who contributed to the birth of this essential alliance. I am profoundly honored also to formally offer ERA's knowledge and experience in joint programming to the benefit of this very ambitious newly created European Ocean Research and Education Alliance. And with this, I wish the best success to this very important undertaking, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Adel El Gamal, for this very inspiring presentation of ERA. We will now have panel discussions with external players, with several players, already existing networks in the ocean science field. And this panel discussion will be moderated by Siri Granum Carlsson, who is Director of NTNU Ocean at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. Siri, you have the floor.
And just before we start the panel of discussion, Siri and myself would like to thank very deeply the work of Massimo Busoli from the NTNU office in Brussels, as well as Karl Stockel from the AMU office in Brussels. Thank you.
We definitely couldn't have done it without you guys. So with that, I would like to start off this next session, the panel discussion, by welcoming our panelists. We have already pointed out in the audience, Mr. Raffaele Liberali from the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership Coordination Team, please. I'll give him an applaud on the way up. We have Gilles Lericois, Chair of the European Marine Board. We have Willem de Mol, who's the Deputy Director of JPI Oceans. We have, let me just see who I've already called. Carlos Guedes Suarez from the University of Lisbon and from the EOREA Strategic Board, please. We also have Anders Palmqvist, the Vice Rector of the Research and International of Research at Chalmers University, also one of our founding members. Okay, and we will also have Member of Parliament Mariya Carvalho joining us. She will join us. Yeah,
she will join.
Wonderful. So, I want to just repeat once again how wonderful it is for us who have been working towards this to be invited here to the European Parliament to present our ideas for this new alliance and to recognize again Member of Parliament Mrs. Carvalho for her great support throughout this process. So we are really anxious, of course, to earn this trust when we go ahead with our actual work. She's been very supportive. Many have been very supportive throughout this process. While others have said more like, well, but aren't there already so many ocean boards, platforms, partnerships, networks, what have you? Do we need another one? Why do we need EOREA? And this is, of course, what we want to address head on in this panel discussion. How can our idea for a new structuring or a restructuring or an additional structuring of the European Ocean Research and Education Community, the EOREA, complement and enforce the needs, activities and strategies at the main ocean, of the main ocean-related initiative that we already fortunately have in place at the European level today, because nobody can do everything. So a natural place to start then is with a upcoming major actor at the European ocean research scene, the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, the SBEP, isn't it?
SBEP. And horrible names, but that's it.
Yeah. So Raffaele Liberali, you're part of, you're the brain behind it, as Massimo said before. Can you start by telling us a little bit about what this new partnership is and what the main objectives are?
Yeah, of course. As was mentioned, thank you very much first to invite me, and thanks for this occasion. And I really want to underline, and I will come back later, how important is your initiatives in the global picture of what's going on in this field. As has been said, I am probably one of the two co-founder or three co-founder of the European Energy Alliance, with the Secretary General that just spoke and with Massimo Busoli, of course, 15 years ago. And we have just seen which is the impact of this alliance in the energy field. And I think that this alliance can really play an equivalent role, even if there are a lot of initiatives. But these initiatives are not competing each other, are more complementary. We will see. We have the GPI Ocean. Of course, we have the partnership. Our main offices are in the GPI Ocean offices. We are collaborating. We are sharing informations. And GPI Ocean is one of the partners of the future of the SBEP. So it means that we are just complementary. What is the SBEP? The SBEP is the partnership, one of the 49 partnerships of the framework program of Horizon Europe that has just been launched. We have just signed the contract with the Commission. The partnership is coordinated by Italy and co-coordinated by Norway. And I'm sorry that Catherine Angel is not here today with us because as far as I spoke with her yesterday, I think she's sick, so it was impossible for her to be here. But we are working hand in hand with her, of course. And this partnership is on the blue economy. What means blue economy? I don't think that I have to learn to you what means a blue economy. We all know what means a sustainable blue economy, a resilient blue economy. I don't go in all the details on how important are oceans for our life. And I am so happy to listen to what Graça de Carvalho said and what the Commission said, that at the end of the day, ocean took the political visibility at European level, how they are important in reality for our life. Our life depends from the sustainability of the oceans. So it's crucial to invest there. And one of the action, of course, we have the big mission. We have the different lighthouse, because that is also the concept we have in the partnership. We have an European partnership, but this partnership has the legs in the sea basins, in the different sea basins, and the connection between the problematic of sea basins that are different and the global picture is crucial. So this partnership is born. The total budget for 7 years is 450 million, so not a small initiative. We have 60 partners between full partners and affiliated and associated partners, and 25 member states and associated countries are represented in the partnerships. So it really is a major initiative where we are working. We start from the EOREA that was elaborated with the help of the GPI Ocean, and we have further elaborated with the pillars. We have further elaborated 5 major intervention areas that in a way go along with what you are presented, the priorities areas. We have the first is development and validation of ocean digital twins at sub-sea basin scale. Of course, we have the major, and we have listened the Commission speaking about the priority of the digital twin of ocean, not the digital ocean, but the digital twin of ocean. And personally, I make a big difference between the two. And I think everybody makes this big difference between the two. But having said that, we will work to have activities, not at global level because it's too ambitious for us, but working as sub-sea basin level to develop real digital twin of ocean or of sea. The second is blue generation marine structures. I mean, energy production, aquaculture with platforms. I have not to go in all the details, but of course, is really a crucial point there for us to have a sustainable but productive partnership and oceans, because the problem is to combine the productivity and the sustainability thanks to technology. That is our main line there. The third is the planning and management of sea users. The fourth is healthy blue food, clear. And the fifth one is enabling the green transition of the blue food production. The two are just complementary. So I said too much, I was too long, just to tell you that the kickoff meeting of the partnership will be on 25th of January in Rome. The day before, we will have the steering committee that is really strategic between member state and commission, that is the strategic body of the partnership, and the day after the first General Assembly. So we will have the full picture there. And we foresee, and we will present soon, we are working now to finalize the call, the first call, that will be published, that will go along with the 5 intervention area, that will be published half of February. In terms, last point, very quick, we have, and that I think is crucial, ensure a really good geographical balance between the main actors of these activities. Seas are everywhere, and they interest everybody. I know that there are some countries that are more advanced and others that are less advanced. But what is crucial, that the most advanced involve and train and bring at level the less advanced. That's why all these initiatives must be really inclusive. And if you look at our governance, all the work packages, all the sea basins, all the different sensibility are represented in our executive committee, just to be sure that this attitude is respected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liberali. That's, we will follow, of course, the rollout of this partnership very thoroughly and read all the documents with our glasses on, right, Richard? Yes. So another very central stakeholder, of course, for EOREA is the European Marine Board. So thank you very much for joining us here today, Mr. Leclerc. And then you are already, as I guess many of the universities and the research organizations represented here, kind of part already or involved in the European Marine Board as the kind of policy instrument that it is, for my own sake, through the Norwegian Marine University Consortium that I'm part of the leader group, and so we are involved very much with this is kind of, we are the connection point to the EMB. You are the chair of the European Marine Board, which is kind of the leading think tank for marine policy in Europe. Oh, you say that about yourself.
Yeah.
On the webpage also, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Gilles is the think tank of Gilles, and after the Marine Board.
And the Marine Board, yes, exactly. Can you tell us a little bit about what the main objectives of the Marine Board is?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting us in such presentation, and especially for the launch of this alliance. And I will take this opportunity before presenting the European Marine Board to tell you a little bit about me. I'm a marine geologist, and I've been working for more than 20 years on trying to understand the past change of the climate and the bioclimate. And it was very difficult to explain to the policymaker that we were going to face a dramatic change in the climate. 20 years ago, nobody was listening to us. And now you see there is a lot of change. And I heard a lot of times, it's time to act. You know, every meetings, it's time to act. All the politicians say it's time to act. But they had the implementation plans, they had strategic research, innovative agenda, and did we act? No, it's time to act, always that. So what we are trying now is to try to work together to act and put action plans. We have been writing by scientists, and I will come to the role of the European Court for that. But I would also take the opportunity to say that in Belgium, the main political sentence is l'union fait la force. So we have to work together. It's in French, it's easy to understand. Union make the force. So may the force be with you. That's important for the alliance. And I will take also this opportunity to recall that we are talking about these sustainable development goals. So they have 17. We talk a lot because we are marine scientists or we are involved. We talk about the marine, about the SDG 14s. But I would like to say that about 60% of the SDG are concerned by the oceans, whatever for food, for climate, for energy, for poverty, for a lot of things. And the 17th, the last one is partnership. So alliance and partnerships are very important. This is the 17th development goals. I will not talk about the 16. I don't know if you know, but I think this one in 2030 will never be achieved, is peace and justice in the world. But I think we are far from that. Anyway, so what is the European Marine Board? The European Marine Board is an association, a think tank. We work at the interface between marine science and policy. And we try to bring advice at the interface for marine science policy and policy needs in marine-related issues. We have been created in 1995, and we were under the responsibility of the European Science Foundation, ESF. And when the European Science Foundation was dissolved, we became independent, and today we are, since 2017, an independent body and self-sustained at that time. We have 35 members from 18 countries. And so we provide advice, and we try to make the links between science to policy with foresights, policy brief, where we bring scientists in a working group to try to bring the message to the policymakers. When they have a subject, for instance, climate change, ocean, carbon cycles, what should we do? What have we done already at the science level in Europe? And what should we do to bring this subject on the table, and what science do we need? So what is probably the difference between the GPI Ocean? I will leave William to say that. European Marine Board and your new alliance is a different niche. I think what we need, and that's the European Marine Board is not doing, is have more science education for the young generation related to marine and maritime topics. And I think you have a huge important connection between different universities. And I think this is very important to have this university to bring the young generation, to educate the young generation, and to have an important capacity building to represent this importance of the ocean, like Richard just have presented us. So everybody knows that is 71% I like, because there is a lot of sea level rise, because now I've read that is 72% so of the surface of the earth, so the sea is rise. But you have to understand also, and we forgot to say that, in volume, the ocean compared to the volume of the earth, I'm a geologist, is nothing, is 0.01% of the volume of the earth. This is water, and water is the origin, is where the life has created. And now we have understood recently that there were probably water on Mars, on the planet Mars, and maybe, that's the new theory, a big meteorite has made the water completely disappear and change the climate. So, you know, it's only a big surface. We bring the Earth, but we have to take care of our water, fresh water. You will see this is nearly nothing, and the water now will be probably source of conflict in the future, and the salt water, because there is, as Richard say, 85% of the biodiversity and all the original life, and we don't know all the things we are there. So especially in the deep oceans. So this is something we have to continue research, science. University is having an important role to bring this message and to educate and do the capacity building for that. So European Mine Board will be very happy to have EOREA as member, and especially to bring, we have, as you say, a consortium of university who try to work with us. And I think we need to enlarge this in the European Mine Board to have the vision of the university more than together with the Research Institute and the Finance Agency.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I mean, I think also what you're saying about I'm very happy that you see these good opportunities for collaboration. But I also think that what you are presenting to us, these facts that you're presenting, also kind of enlightens me on or makes us see the importance of interdisciplinarity when we approach the big ocean questions. So thank you for that. I'm moving over now to yet another chief player at the European Ocean Research Waters, in the European Ocean Research Waters that we already have heard referred to a couple of times, JPI Oceans. We are fortunate to have with us here today Deputy Director Willem de Moor. Thank you for that, for joining us today. Could you tell us a little bit about what JPI Oceans is and how this is positioned in the European ocean research landscape?
Yes, certainly. And thank you. I know you would like to avoid duplication, but let me start first of all by congratulating you with the launch of
that's an exception. That's allowed to duplicate.
Okay, very good. Congratulations with the launch of the Alliance, and thank you very much. It's really an honor to be here on behalf of JPI Oceans as well. We've heard the word joint programming today already quite often. You've talked about how the Alliance itself will develop joint programs. JPI Oceans is short also for Joint Programming Initiative for Healthy and Productive Seas and Oceans. So I see that there is some source of confusion perhaps already there. So let me just try to explain where we are different from the new Alliance, which is launched today, and where we can be complementary as well, I think, from our side. So JPI Oceans is one of the 10 JPIs which was endorsed by the Council in the early 2010s, together basically focused on the grand challenges we faced in Europe, and one of them is healthy and productive seas and oceans, I think, as you all know. We are, with JPI Oceans, focusing on the 80 or 85% of research funding, which is still funded at the national level, compared to the larger international programs or European programs like Horizon Europe, the European Space Agency, etc. So we're focusing ourselves on those 85%, which is at the national level, and our members, contrary to other initiatives, are mostly research funding agencies and ministries. So based on their joint priorities, they come up with what we call a strategic framework and decide on what sort of joint actions they want to implement. We also sort of differ from some other initiatives is that we sort of make use of a range of tools. So we have the classic joint calls for research and innovation proposals, on which we launched over the years. I think, I don't know the exact number now, but I think for more than 160 million euro, we pooled together resources from both the member states, partly also through co-fund initiatives from the European Commission. Then we also make use of the sharing of research infrastructures, of research vessels. We've done so in several of our actions, most notably on one action looking at the impact of deep sea or potential deep sea mining activities. Lastly, we also set up what we call knowledge hubs. It's basically expert groups which address certain issues, which can work on certain topics. Example, the cumulative effects of human activities, the topic of new pollutants, and usually come up with sort of very concrete products, handbooks, policy briefs, etc. So that's, I think, in short, what we do. Where we are different from larger scale programs like the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership is that we are smaller, so we can act perhaps a little bit quicker from time to time, are fairly agile, and if there are sort of certain niche topics which can't be taken on board by the partnership, we just heard the priorities there, and we have the 5 intervention areas. Of course, the marine research landscape is a lot broader than that, so we try to address certain niche. Most notably, or very recently, we've launched a call for research and innovation proposals on the impact of underwater noise. So next year, beginning of next year, we actually launch 5 new projects on the topics of underwater noise, which will start their work for 3 years, looking at the impact of this new stressor. We're also now developing new activities. 2 of them I can quickly, I think, talk about. One is on the impact of artificial light in the ocean, but also the sort of the changing lightscape in the ocean. So we see that due to increased runoff of water from land, the ocean changes in color, and this has an impact on the marine environment. Secondly, also a topic of blue carbon. I think I saw it before as well, sort of the take-up of carbon by our ocean and coastal ecosystems. So these are 2 topics which we are developing now further. I think I'll leave it at that for now. I think there are more questions coming. So
yeah. Great. Thank you very much. I think we see that there is a lot of work to do, obviously, and the challenge, I think, is to have a very good dialogue between and good sharing of work between us. So I'm happy that we are starting this conversation now. So to we have a couple of representatives from our members here also today. Anders Palmqvist, you are Vice Rector of Research at Chalmers, and you are so you're kind of representing this steering level of the EOREA founding members organizations, together with the NTNU Director and the AMU Vice President that we already heard from. And I must say that our colleagues at Chalmers, represented in the back there by Ida-Maja, have been a sort of very active and eager supporter of this initiative from the start. So I don't know, as Vice Rector with responsibility for internationalization, is this something that you would support?
Obviously, yes. I know if my mic is on.
It should be live. Oh, okay.
So I'll try to speak. Okay, now, thank you. So thanks. I don't have to shout. Good. Yes, as a Vice President for Research, my own area is materials chemistry and working on energy-related aspects. And the ocean, obviously, is very big. And we've heard many good things about the topics, and most of the clever things, I think, have been said already. But there's so many things that relates to the ocean that we are active in research at Chalmers. We are based in Gothenburg, which is the biggest harbor in the Nordic countries. So obviously the ocean is extremely important for us, and to educate people for all the challenges and the possibilities that are existing in the ocean is very important for us. It's also happy to see that there are 4 of the 5 Nordic 5 Tech members are also member in this initiative. So that's also good. That strengthens the already existing alliances that we are part of. We also have partnerships with the ID League partners, which are also shared in this initiative. So I think this will bring us even closer together, and working cross-disciplinary is something that we have established and worked with for a long time within the university, but also with existing external partners. So
I think this is very much in line with how we want to work and how we see that conducting research and education is very effective. So this is very much in line in what we want to prioritize. So I'm happy that we are part of this and support it fully. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for that. I'll go over to our next level of governance in EOREA. Professor Carlos Guedes Soares, you are a distinguished professor of the engineering faculty at the University of Lisbon, and you're also part of the strategy board of EOREA, or the executive committee, together with Richard and me. So can I ask you now, a bit more than a year ago, when we first approached your institutions and invited you to start discussing this alliance, what made you accept the invitation to start these discussions? And what do you hope to achieve through the alliance that you think we couldn't achieve in any other way?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here at this event. Yes, when I was first contacted, the initiative looked interesting, because I'm a firm believer that progress in science and technology can only be achieved through international cooperation. And this is essential to have associations that promote this type of activity. So in principle, that's a good starting point. And I'm always open to put efforts in building and contributing to initiatives that lead to the associated work and cooperation between different research groups. Now, as to the main topic of this alliance, although member of this strategic board, I'm not sure that I will be fully representing the views of the board. So I'm a bit more biased towards my own views, which I believe it's probably within what most people will be thinking. But the future of this alliance is based on its unique combination of interests, which are different from other existing associations, as has already been emphasized by my previous colleagues at the table here. So we have a combination between universities and research institutions, which is an important tool to progress with research and knowledge. And we also have a combination between marine science and marine technology. The existing boards are very much addressing marine science. And it is my firm belief that for blue economy to progress, we need marine science to have the knowledge of the oceans, but we need marine technology to be able to develop the solutions that will bring the sustainable use of the oceans and will promote the economic growth. So we need both. Technology also is important to improve the knowledge of the oceans and to contribute to marine science. So I see that this alliance has a different weight than other organizations in which marine technology is much more represented. And for me, this is an important step towards bringing up solutions that can in fact lead to the development of blue economy and to bring a sustainable use of the oceans and a clear contribution to the economy and to the well-being of people.
Thank you very much, Professor Soares. I think from my own perspective, working with the responsible research and innovation, I think what you are saying is very important, and important for us as an alliance, that in order to have responsible, good technology development, we need to work close together with other universities, with other primary, and to work across the disciplines, and also to bring in social sciences and humanities. We are approaching the end of our discussion, unfortunately, but I would like to ask you Mrs. Carvalho, if you have any reflections on the basis of what we have been talking about here today, when it comes to what your hopes are for EOREA, what we can contribute with positively to the European ocean research and innovation and education scene.
Thank you very much. I would start with this point of the synergies that this initiative promotes. And one was just mentioned now by Professor Gabriel, that is exactly between the putting together science and technology, and that is a very important point. The one that I have also mentioned in my introductory remarks, that is putting together research, innovation, both on science and technology, with education, and also we should not forget the training component for the upskilling and reskill of that we need so much. And to have an open attitude and an European view, very balanced in terms of geographic terms. So this is probably the point that I would stress as the most important advantage of your network. And so we also have a door where to knock when we need to let's do something about the oceans, let's promote these initiatives. So you are putting together the stakeholders, that's very important. Second point that I want to stress is related with the political support. And I would like to confess that I was a bit surprised how difficult it is to push ocean-related initiatives in Europe. I had the first experience when I was rapporteur of the specific program Horizon 2020, that we want to put together everything related with oceans to have a box with the title, not dispersed. And I had a lot of opposition. I managed, but it was a lot of opposition. At that time, I tried, from the period, I tried to have a kick on oceans and was not possible. But as I'm persistent, I didn't give up. And this time that I was the rapporteur again of the EIT, I put it together. I put it again. And fortunately, we had a set of conditions because we terminated the negotiation during the Portuguese presidency, and it helped. We had the help of several countries. Italy was one of them. Ms. Liberal has just reminded me of that. Yes, we had, but not all. We had many countries that were not in favor of the ocean. It's not because they don't consider important, it's because there is always something more important for them. And the fact, in order to get a successful negotiation, we included, and I think that is good, also rivers and lakes. You know, so to bring other countries on board. So we have water, is mainly marine and maritime and ocean, but it's also the question of the waters in lakes, rivers, so that we have a full European dimension. But I'm say that I'm a bit surprised. You have, of course, the ocean nations that are always fighting for ocean, but is not yet something like agriculture or regional development that you have a full support of the European countries. So we still a lot of work to do to explain that oceans are important for all of us, and even if we don't have a big coast, oceans is crucial for the environment, for the energy, for Europe as a whole. and that was difficult. And yet it was approved, but with the if that we need to have a kind of study before we open the call, before the Commission opens the call, to really make sure that the subject is important. It is in the legislation. So the Commission has to do an impact assessment, its technical name, to see the real importance of water, rivers, lakes, and ocean. And it's so obvious for for anyone that, but is in the legislation. So we are asking the Commission to start this impact assessment. It's also very important that stakeholders involve themselves in impact assessment and shows the importance of these sectors with data and with figures, so that we have the call open during this term, because you know that the priorities change all the time. If you have a new commission, a new college, a new parliament, maybe they keep the same priorities, maybe there is change of priorities. So it will be important that something that was decided during this legislative period at least starts during this legislative period, and is more and more important, even more important than in 2020 when we finished the report. We have seen, especially now that the kick involves everything related with water, and we have so many problems of scarcity of water in several parts of Europe. That is also something that can be addressed in this kick. The kick is you know, a big program with substantial funding, so it can have several sub boxes with dealing with different kinds of issues related with oceans, and also relate with ocean and with water, and the problems related with water. So I count on your support and your involvement to make sure that we have that we continue with joint program with the mission, and that we were able also to launch the EIT kick on maritime and water very soon, and that is a successful kick. I'm sure it will be. So thank you very much and congratulations for the initiative.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Takara. Thank you. Yes, that deserves an applause. We will be very, very ready to open whenever you knock on our door, and we are very ready to help push this initiative with the Kick Ocean forward, clearly. I'm sorry to say we are running out of time. Is it possible to open for a question or two from the audience? Anybody? One in the back there.
Yes, I would like to, well, first congratulate for the initiative, and I would like to know how open you are to collaborate with non-European organizations, and including developing countries in this initiative.
Thank you. That's a very important and a very good question. And since we have put the UN Decade of Ocean Science as a kind of a key ambition for us to contribute to, so that means that we have to be. And of course, that's also a very important part of the European research agenda. So capacity building and also collaboration, because there are other parts of the world that are solving issues that we are not yet solving here. So we need obviously to find good ways of working also with other parts. And for example, with Atlantic challenges, to take something that's close to me, we need to have a good collaboration overseas also. Yeah. But we haven't gotten as far as to think of exactly how we will build those structures. Yeah.
Just a question to you. Are you involved in the whole Atlantic initiative? There was this North Atlantic initiative, and now there is a South Atlantic initiative. Yeah. So because there they involve a lot of developing countries.
Thank you.
Yeah, I take the floor because I think it's very important. You take the example of the CERN, but I will take the example of the position of Europe in the space. And there is a European Space Agency, but they have nothing for the oceans. So it's disseminated, and I think we have been advocating to have a sort of ocean agency, European Ocean Agency, or European Seas Water Agency, and I think this is something important where you can sustain the fundings and sustain the talk and the work you are talking together. And you see that it's disseminating because you have many alliances who try to feed the niche or the gap in different way. And I think this could be very important at the European level. But I don't know to who I should be talking. So maybe to Madame Carvalho, who is there, she can bring that to the
European Ocean Agency, Mrs. Carvalho.
That is one thing. Both CERN and these decisions are intergovernmental, are not community institutions. So there is the governments that agree between them. They pay a fee. They pay a high fee, but it's worth pay. So that is a model. Is a model that myself as an MEP, I prefer more European community methods, so based on the community, and it's something that it can be pushed in the scope of the Horizon, next Horizon. There is now an evaluation of the Horizon Europe that is starting, and that is something that it can be pushed, is to have a more permanent structure. I wouldn't call it an agency, because agency is very complex now to set out. Mr. Liberali knows. But a structure, a common research and innovation center, European center, that has an infrastructure for research in the ocean area, that is possible and feasible. So we need to start in the evaluation of the Horizon to Europe, and also start with an embryo of that in the kick of ocean. Could be a possibility after enlarges.
So it's just to stay tuned and see what happens. Okay, we have to unfortunately end this part of the program because we have a very important document to sign. So with that, I thank the panelists a lot, and thank you for the audience and the good questions as well. And I give the word back to Massimo. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, my dear.
Grazie mille. Grazie a voi del supporto.
Okay, we are running to the end of the event, and I promise, because my Norwegian soul avoid to be late, so we need to be on time. We are going to have two final moments. One is now we are going to sign the joint declaration that launches officially the alliance, and I would like to invite to stage Anne Borg and Sophie Chauvet, and I invite to stay the Vice Rector of Chalmers. The other partner have already signed remotely, so we are completing the commitment that the institution are taking. So this is a very short ceremony just to ratify with you the fact that we are alive and we are now today starting our activities. So that's will take very, very few minutes. Please. I would like to ask Rebecca to take the declaration with us and having our testimonial, our support. Also, Mrs. Carvalho.
I don't sign, but I support
Yeah.
you. Which is really important.
So please, have a seat. Okay. So, you have your own pen. No, I don't want to.
No, where should I sign?
We have a branded pen for our rectors.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind to use an empty pen. Yep.
Yes.
Taking the picture, you're signing here. Yep.
From there, no? To in front. Yeah, the testemunhas.
Exactly. Like in a marriage.
Yeah, the marriage. The madrinha, padrinho.
And to close properly, of course, we need some key takeaways. But before, I would like to invite on stage Karl Stockel, the head of Aix-Marseille, which shared the workload that we spent in the last year and a half in setting this up together with all the members of the strategic committee. So, Karl.
Thank you, Massimo. This is also to thank NTNU Brussels office, his director, Massimo Buswoli, and his colleagues, Joachim, Kaya, and Rebecca. Thank you also. Nice cooperation in Brussels. And we will now give the floor to Rector Anneborg from NTNU and Vice President Sophie Chauvet for concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would start by thanking all contributors and very good interventions and discussions today. It's been a great day. And as we have seen, it's really a growing attention to the ocean on the European research agenda, and an overall agreement that we need to join forces to solve its sustainability challenges and also use ocean in a wise way. I mean, even though it's a fairly large area, it's also limited. There's many things that the ocean should cover. So through the EOREA initiative, we want to contribute to a better and more inclusive and more integrated ocean research, innovation, and education agenda in Europe, as you've heard. We heard from the Secretary General of European Energy Research Alliance how this initiative has led to a better and less fragmented research and innovation system in the energy field. And we are hopeful that we can achieve similar results within the ocean area. And also, I hope that we can get some good advice from you on the way. We started out with a quite small group of founding partners from different corners of Europe, and hope that we will be able to create an inclusive platform that will attract ocean researchers and educators across all sea basins and disciplines. And as was already shown today, in the coming year, we will start up the first joint research programs. And already now, we extend an open invitation to the entire European research scene to join us in building the European Ocean Research and Education Alliance. So, Sophie, please.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Han. So to finish shortly, I would like to wish the best for the future of EOREA. They will play for sure on the visibility of how important it is to take into account the ocean. I would like to remind you that if your institution is not already part of the Alliance, don't hesitate to contact EOREA and all their members. And to finish, just to remind you that alone we go faster, but all together we go further. Thanks to all of you.
And of course, as we have opened, I would like Mrs. Carvalho to close this meeting.
Very shortly, just to congratulate for the initiative, to wish all the best to the future, and to thank everyone, to thank all the speakers, everyone present and online, the two representatives of the institutions, director and vice president of the universities, all the other members of the 14 institutions that have signed, and the ones that have worked very hard for this to happen. That is the Brussels office of the National Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and also with the help of my assistants, that I know that there was some problems in
we managed.
that you have managed, that everything went well, especially with the digital part that is still not so smooth as it should be, but fortunately everything went fine. So thank you very much for your work, and I wish you all the best for this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. So, a bit of home housekeeping for the one which have confirmed the presence to the lunch. I kindly ask you to wait outside the room, and you will be taken to the place where we are going to eat. I think there will be fish, but I'm not sure. Jokes apart, I would like to deserve an applause to Mrs. Carvalho and all to the participants. Thank you very much. And now it's time to networking.